Hey, happy holidays, and welcome to the section of the man cave. It's my gaming room section. I affectionately call my war room. I thought I'd give you a little drop in on the latest game I'm playing here. Got some time off of work, and I've been getting into this game called Labyrinth by Mr. Volku Runke. Card-driven game. If you ever looked at or you know anything about gaming and you've ever seen a game Twilight Struggle, this map will look really familiar. It is kind of mechanically based, do I dare say, on Twilight Struggle. But no, I've played Twilight Struggle. I don't have the board game version, but I play it online, a Steam version, and I can honestly say I have yet to win a game on that one. So I hope things go better for me in Labyrinth. And you know what? I think they will. I got a whole bunch of rules over there for Twilight Struggle, and I've just kind of learned it by playing it. But there's a couple cards in that game that I always play, and it don't seem like it reduces the DEF CON level, but it always does, and it always ends the game for me right there. So I gotta learn that game. But back to Labyrinth. This is a card-based game. Up here they got a little counter here for you for length of games. This one here says 3 decks, 2 decks, and 1 deck. I'm playing a 1-deck game, which means, and you can kind of see how far I've gone. This is my draw pile. These 2 piles were one big pile here, but this is my discard pile. But when you go through a whole set of cards, you add up the victory conditions and find out who won if nobody's got an automatic victory. Automatic victory for the jihadist player would be for them to sneak a weapon of mass destruction into the United States and execute a terrorist plot. If that thing goes off, U.S. player's done. This is a very solitaire suitable game. They provide you with flow charts for the jihadist player. And it takes a little getting used to. This whole game takes a little getting used to. I don't know if you've seen any of my videos on Fields of Despair and Washington's War, but those are fairly easy. You know, you can pick those up, probably learn those in a couple hours. Me with my schedule, it usually takes me a couple weeks. But this one here had me going. Now I did do a video on this one earlier that I deleted, because it was more of a learning video, and I pretty well got it going on here now. And I really don't have time to do too many videos, but I wanted to give you a little drop in and show you how this game's going on. This here is my troops. Now a little info on how this game is played. Your troop markers down here on the last part of troops that you have, and this has to do with how many cards you get to draw. 9 cards, 8 cards, 7 cards. So if this troop level gets up towards this way, towards the right, I get less cards. Now you can see here on a jihadist in my game going on now, all their cells are deployed. This jihadist funding marker's down here. He only gets 7 cards. So it's always good to have your forces back here on the funding track or on the troop track, because you get more cards. Now I have deliberately held off on using troops for regime change in Afghanistan, which is my only Islamic ruled country. I might end up doing that because I'm having trouble changing that Islamic rule. I guess the only way you can do it is to regime change. But in this game, this number right here is the number you want to worry about. Those are resource numbers. A U.S. player has to have at least 6 of them, so I'm not really worried about Afghanistan. Hell, let the place go to pot. But the disease does spread, and as you can see in the black markers here, those are cells. And let me show you here one really quick. All these cells are asleep. If they were active, it's kind of a nice little deal they got here. Look at, oh yeah, you get the old crescent moon and star, but nobody's active here lately. And this track here will tell you how I'm doing, which isn't too good. This keeps track of your victory conditions. As you can see, there's 11 And I haven't updated this. This might need to be updated, but poor Islamic countries equal 11. And that's their governance. I need at least 6 good resources to win the game. If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to check that. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's it. Very good governance countries are only 3. You can see the Islamist doesn't have any resources here, so I want to keep that down. So not that bad. I think I'm about halfway into the game. What I'm trying to do now, my strategy is to get these guys here with these 3 looking good. It's hard to do because I also got these tracks here. The U.S. Prestige is at an all-time. I mean, I couldn't get any lower. That hurts on my die rolls when I try to change those governances. So I'm trying to somehow got to get that prestige up. In that one game, I had it up to 12, but it drops quick. Card play. You can also see I'm getting a penalty here on the U.S. Global War on Terror Relations. The world's posture is soft. U.S. posture is hard. When they're both on the opposite sides like this, you do get die roll modifiers, negative die roll modifiers when you're trying to do things. So these 2 tracks here are very important. And that's pretty much what's going on. It's a really good game. This game's going to take me through the holidays. You can see I got a couple cells over here in Europe too, so you gotta kind of watch out for that. Right now, it is the jihadist's turn. He's gonna play his card now with this solitaire version. I don't look at any of his cards, and I always draw the top card and play that. So there's a jihadist. If you know anything about operations, op numbers, and events, this is a jihadist event. So before my camera goes ahead and turns off automatically, this ought to give you a look at the game. Everything here, enjoying the holidays down here in the war room section of the man cave, and really getting into some good Labyrinth. 2 thumbs up, and maybe we'll let you drop in here a little bit and see how my game's going, but that's it for now. Happy holidays, everybody. See ya. Hey, welcome back, guys. Couple more thoughts on my Labyrinth game here, and maybe we'll make a little move. I just want to give you a little bit more of an overview on the map, maybe explain a few more things. Show you what some of these markers mean and what's going on with my game in particular. The main thing is you want to see a lot of these blues, governance, as the U.S. player. U.S. player wants a lot of these number 3s as good. You can see here there's kind of a golden triangle of countries, including Saudi Arabia, the Gulf states, and Iraq. Egypt over here has 3, and I believe down here Malaysia is 3. So these are the countries you really want to concentrate on. Now I have spent a lot of my ops wastefully trying to switch over. I've been concentrating on this Gulf states, trying to flip this over to good governance. Again, I'm suffering a lot of penalties because my prestige is low and because the world posture is soft and the U.S. posture is hard. Another thing you can tell is all these cells spread out. Well, they're spread out because they all were in Afghanistan at one time, but I chose not. And I learned this on my first gameplay, is that if you get too thin on your troops, this marker goes down towards the right and you lose cards. So I'm going to try to keep troops out of Afghanistan, like I said, and concentrate on these countries right here. I need at least 6. If I end the game with that deck going down with less than 6 resources and good, I lose the game. So, and it's proven to be, or it's turned out to be quite the challenge. All right, right now I'm playing this card here. If we go through this flow chart, I'll be back to the map there real quick. Get our card over here. Alright. Now, since it's a solitaire game, I won't get the choice to choose apps or event. I'll have to choose what the flowchart tells me. Is it a playable non-US event? Yes, it is. It doesn't have the US symbol on it. It has a Islamic or jihadist symbol, which means it's a jihadist card. So it's a playable non-US event. The answer would be yes. We go over here. Event recruits or places a sell. It does say there that I'm to test China and place a sell in Central Asia. So we'll follow it on this way. Yes. Track has a sell. Now here's where the con comes in. The track is empty of jihadist cells. So we go over here to what's called a radicalization, and that's where it ends. So this card won't be used for its event. It'll be used for its operations. Okay, it comes over here too. I want to show you something. I'm going to play this. First op, and this only has one op. It's only a one op card. But your first op automatically places one cell into a random country if the track has any cells. Well, it don't have any cells. So next, it travels one cell by the flowchart. So that's what we'll do. We'll find a flowchart and see what goes on here. Now down here, under travel, we will go to what is called radicalization starts here. Alright. They're going to travel to a poor country where a major jihad is possible, and if they need 2 more cells. So poor country with the most cells in it is Pakistan. I'm going to go ahead and stop it here and restart so I can make sure I get all this in on one video. We'll be right back. Okay, so what the flowchart's going to have me do is pour a bunch of these cells into Pakistan to try to launch a major jihad. And what a major jihad would do is flip Pakistan over from a poor adversary to probably a neutral Islamic republic. So I got to find, that's where the cells are going to go to. We come back here. Where's it come from? Where's it going to travel from? Islamic rule country with more cells than ops, and that's not going to happen because the Islamic rule country only has 1 cell. All right, we'll go down here to a regime change country with greater than 5 cells. We do have. Oh no! This is a besieged regime, so that doesn't count. There's no regime change countries. So we'll skip that. We'll go down here to adjacent country. So these cells are going to be beefed up by either India or Afghanistan. They're the last cell there, so I'll have to check that out to see what goes on there. I'll be back with the rules, but a cell's going to come from someplace. Well, maybe not Sudan. I'll have to follow some flowcharts, but I'll be looking at some rules, get some specifics, and we will be back. I don't know what else I covered on here. Looking over the map and see if there's anything I could add before I end this one. These here are weapons of mass destruction plots. There's only 6 of these. Right now they're in their arsenals, here and here. If for somehow they leave these boxes and end up in the available plots, that's when it'll all get out and go wrong. And that finds its way out in the map. Another thing is, in this game, these are reserves. You can reserve your cards for future ops if you ain't got enough to have an operation. If you need like a 3 card, you only have a 2 and a 1. You can kind of like stash one here. But in the 1-player game, the jihadist player never reserves any cards, so this only applies to the American player. As you can see, I got my events and plays and my cards over here. I don't know if that's the way you do it, but this kind of helps me tell me what's going on. These have to do with the Philippines. There was 1 card that was in play, but this card here trumped it, so this one's on top. All right, let me see what goes on with my cell movement, and we shall return. Looking through everything, it's my interpretation of the rules is that the top priority country is Pakistan, because with 2 more cells, it can launch a major jihad. Pakistan also has a nice little arsenal of weapons of mass destruction, so that would be detrimental to the U.S. player for sure. Okay, so the cell is coming, or is going to Pakistan. Now, from what I've read, the first choice on the ladder down is an adjacent country. It says it can't come from Afghanistan because it's an Islamist rule country, and the only way a cell can travel from Afghanistan is to travel inside of the country, interior, and that would only just take a cell from being active to inactive. Well, that don't apply because he's inactive anyway, so I can't travel. It X's out Afghanistan. Next one's India, and whenever you travel from one country to an adjacent country, it automatically succeeds. So that's what we'll be doing. Any other time, if it was traveling like from India to Saudi Arabia, well, number one, to conduct an operation in Saudi Arabia, I'd have to roll a 3 or less, and then to place the cell, I'd also have to roll 3 or less. There'd be 2 die rolls. Now, since the card on that is a 1, I'd only roll with 1 dice. If I had a 3 dice, I'd get 3 dice to try to get that 3. But that's only on the operation succeeding. When I rolled for a 3 for the cell to be placed, I'd only roll 1 die. So this card here is done. They have traveled. That is the first card. And now we go to the second card. And the second card for the... Oh, it's a US card. And real quickly here, I'll show you what's going on, and then I'm going to play me some Labyrinth without filming. And that'll be fun. So let's see what we got going on here. Playable non-US event. No. Playable US event. Let's see what happens. Play if there is a regime change country. Improve its governance 1 level. There's no regime change country yet, so playable US event. No. Major jihad. Success possible. We need at least 5 cells in a country for a major jihad. That won't work. So no major jihad. Minor jihad, or rather jihad possible in a good and fair country. That means you have to have a cell in a country of fair or good. And that applies to Saudi Arabia. So then it says yes, we will conduct a minor jihad in Saudi Arabia. Now, just to be real quick on that, what that means is that this little cell is going to become active and try to knock my one and only good governance down the poor. So he will be able to roll, I believe, 3 dice. Hold on a second. Jihadist. He will be able to roll 3 dice, but he has to get a 1 to succeed. So we'll go ahead and do that, and that's how you play Labyrinth. It is a good game. I'll be down here trying to get this prestige up, trying to get rid of these cells, trying to get this Gulf states and Iraq governance up to good within the parameters of the card play. So having fun down here. We shall return. Happy holidays, people. See you in a little bit. Bye.